Michael, your own county, Offaly, after appointing Michael Fennelly, what are your initial thoughts on that?
I suppose just chatting to people, the initial reaction was very, very positive. It was almost like we've been waiting for, I suppose, a high-profile name for a good while. So that was maybe my initial reaction to other people's reactions. My initial reaction was that his experience of coaching and management at any level in hurling is quite limited. He's only 34, he's obviously still playing with Ballyhale, was captain of Ballyhale to win a club title last year, was involved with Kildare footballers last year. So I would have worries and reservations about the experience side of thing, but there is a buzz around the county already. I do get the impression that lads are going to want to play for him and that lads are going to want to impress him. The fact that the appointment was made coming up to this weekend, which is the last round of the Senior Championship and Senior B Championship, he'll get to see teams, if he has time of course, but he will get to see teams and get to see what's out there. He would have hurled against a lot of these lads as well at different stages, and he's just a very, very well respected figure. Interesting to see who his backroom team is. No inklings of anyone in the backroom team yet. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he brought someone from Kilkenny with him, given his level of expertise in strength and conditioning and the professional backgrounds and environments he's been in. He has serious contacts, so it'll be interesting to see who comes with him.
So what are the areas, I'm trying to think, does he satisfy the requirements that Offaly need right now? What are the areas where Offaly are suffering? It's buy-in from enough of the players around the county?
Definitely.
Respecting maybe the management teams, because there seems to be issues, and I'm not saying that the management teams were always right and the players were always wrong, or vice versa, but a bit of respect, or mutual respect I should say, having the players in peak physical condition. Are these the things that is he going to satisfy those requirements?
I think he will, to be fair, yeah. As I said, the buy-in is the big one. We've had for a county so small, we've had a ridiculous turnover of players in the last 3 or 4 years. You're almost building new panels every year, and it's not like a couple of lads not been involved next year. It could be 10 or 12 when you add them all up. So I suppose he was given a 2-year term, so maintaining the panel and the same personnel, the personnel that he wants, and developing them over a 2-year period with the view to further down the line and longer, whether it's under him or someone else, is very, very important, and keeping those bodies on board. As you said, with the strength and condition, there's no point in saying anything different. We have been a bit behind and we still are. So I'd imagine with his background, his professional background in that we will get to a certain level, get our base level, and then be able to build from there, because we are, if you're not up to it in the strength and conditioning stakes at the moment, and physically you're chasing your tail. 10 years ago we were always told we were fit, but we were always told that our hurling would get us out of trouble almost. That was the saving grace. That's not the case now. If you can't get to the ball now, you're in trouble. So I would hope that physically we will get up to a level that we haven't been at before.
So this weekend you've both Kilkenny Championship, including Ballyhale against Bennett's Bridge, who he plays for. I'm not sure what his injury situation is at the moment, but Offaly Championship is on as well. Are you concerned that he won't get to see the players enough? Because there's nothing like seeing players in real life, because watching back video you don't see everything.
There would be a bit of concern. I'd imagine he has a couple of scouts and people that he respects a lot. The senior championship matches in Offaly are all on at the same time, so there's 4 of them on the same time on Sunday evening, because it's basically who's going to finish where in the group, so they all affect each other, so they have to be on at the same time. So he's going to need 3 or 4 different people spread out between those games. I would imagine that, and I'd imagine that he has people that he respects and really takes in their hurling opinions and will go and do that. So
if he has no backroom team though, it's hard to see.
Yeah, but saying that, part of your backroom team, people that you respect from Kilkenny, would you mind going out and having a look at this and let me know what you think? Might be a bad thing that they don't know any of the players, because they might look at it a little differently than has been looked at in the past. But as I said, there will be he should get to see every senior team from here on in, be it this Sunday or be it in the quarterfinals, which will see 4 teams, and then there's another 2 teams in the semi-finals, and then you get to see the relegation final as well. So he should theoretically see every team.
People I've talked to have said he sort of screamed management material, and a game that always stands out to me is, I think it was the game where Watford beat
down in Thurles, I remember that.
And he was over talking in Cody's ear during extra time as well.
Yeah, Richie Hogan came back on as a result of that. I think he'd taken him off, and he basically told him we need to get him back on the pitch.
So that would suggest that Michael Fennelly has got Cody's ear, or at least he's willing to listen to him. So that in itself speaks volumes.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. And certain players like that. He's been like riddled with injuries over the last 10 years. He clearly is an unbelievable leader. Cody clearly trusted him that he would be in peak physical condition and that he would deliver. So like that does kind of scream leader. It screams captain. It screams manager / coach. It screams a player that people will buy into.
Do you think that, you know, Laois, another county with an element of self-destruct to it over the years, bring in Eddie Brennan, outside voice, someone that people really respect, that the county needed that? So is it as simple as Michael Fennelly can do the same thing because Offaly needs someone, they want to end the infighting, they want everyone to buy in, they want all the best players available? Is it as simple as that?
People think it's as simple as that, but it's not. It's obviously not as simple as that. Eddie had been finished with Kilkenny 8 years, I think, when he took over Laois, and had 2 years done with the under-21s. Obviously a bad year the first year, but gotten them to an All-Ireland under-21 final. Michael Fennelly has finished like 20 months with Kilkenny, is still hurling with his club, is still relatively young and has no experience coming in. So it's not that simple. I have to say though, and I've been critical of the county board, and I'm sure I will be in the future, that they got their business done quite quickly and quietly and efficiently, and I know they had sounded out some other pretty high profile names. I believe Jeff Linsky had been kind of sounded out before the Galway situation changed, and I believe Derek McGrath had been contacted about the job as well. So like at least it shows a bit more of a vision to me than what has been the case. Like for example, when Brian Wheelaton was the senior manager, and this is through no fault of his, he went for the interview for the minor job and ended up with the senior hurling job. And it was the same situation when Emma MacDonald went for the minor football job and ended up with the senior job as well. So like there's clearly no foresight there. I'm hoping there's a bit more with disappointment. But as I said, the lack of experience is a worry. But regardless of who is over Offaly, people would be thinking, particularly within the county, that they're going to win Division 2A league and they're going to win the Chris Steering, rightly or wrongly. So they're definitely thinking it now with him at the helm.
Yeah, surely he's onto a winner, because you can't start from a lower base with a hurling county.
Yeah, it's a very low, like it's as low a base. It's a base that no one ever thought we'd be at. So like, I hurled a bit with Wicklow for 2 years, and the joke always was like back home, like, you know, that Wicklow were so far away from Offaly, and now they're playing Division 2A against them, and now they're playing Christy Ring against them. So we in Offaly kind of think that we're, I don't know, at a much higher level, or are seen to be at the top table. We're well away from that now. We're at a really, really low base. I would imagine that you'd be winning the Chris Steering. Division 2A will be anything but a formality with Kerry and Antrim in it. But you'd imagine they'd be back pretty early. It's not like other years when Kevin Ryan was manager, they started really late and were like really ragged during the league. Yeah. You'd imagine they will have a serious base done before they get going.
And then you mentioned Offaly having their business done early. Galway haven't. It's incredible, even in both codes, the fact that both teams are out a couple of months now, and all of a sudden they're saying goodbye to their managers.
The Micheál Lunnu situation is bizarre by all accounts, because he had been interviewed, done a couple of bits and pieces where he was planning for next year as recently as the Galway races, and now he's not there. By all accounts, it seems to be a financial issue, and with regards to the financial backing of the team.
Communication as well with the county board. I believe the communication has broken down altogether.
Yeah, and like Kevin Walsh then leaving is a disastrous situation for the county board. Like, while people wouldn't have been happy with what Galway have done in the football side of things the last couple of years, I think they would have taken his hand off for him to stay on, just for that bit of stability, and to not be looking for two managers now. It's hard enough to get one good manager and get a committee in place to get him or her, and now you have to go on to do it for two. The Galway football situation is, I do think they should be onto a winner, and they should get a really good name. The hurling is a lot less clear. You're looking at probably the main candidates, Jeff Linsky. Brian Hanley's name has been touted. I find it hard to believe that he would be in that equation, or maybe would even want to be into that equation at this early. A couple of outside names as well that will come into it.
He did manage Westmeath, I think 2012 as well, took over. Things had gone a little bit awry there, took over, but yeah, go on.
And there's a couple of other outside names as well. So Anthony Daly's name has been floated. Yeah. Derek McGrath seems to be involved with the Laois minor hurlers now, so he's kind of maybe out of the equation. But it'll be interesting to see. There's not a huge amount of candidates in Galway. There's a couple of other guys that are possibilities, like Justin Campbell was in the race the last time. John Hardiman was in the race the last time before pulling out. Matty Kenny's kind of ruled himself out now as well. So they're not going to be bowled over by candidates. I'd imagine they'd want to get their business done fairly quickly too.